So I have a speech, and I've been trying to figure out where to work this into the speech, so I'm going to just throw it out at the beginning. That way I don't mess things up with my printed work here. A few years ago, I was traveling back east, and I stayed with the Hornets. I called Mike up and I said, I'm coming in for 3 days, or I'm coming in for 2 weeks, can I stay at your place? And Mike, without hesitating, said, sure, stay over. And those who know the story, those 3 weeks, or those 2 weeks turned into, I think, 95 days. Yeah, it was one of the other times that I retired for a short period of time. And I spent that time getting to know the kids. I was their Manny for a little while. I'd take them out to walk up and go to the school bus. And during that trip, I was trying to see as many people as I could because I don't travel back east that often. And I went to see a high school, or a college roommate who had become a born-again Christian. And they were homeschooling their kids. And I had said to him, I'd stayed over the night and we were talking the next day, we were walking around this lake, and I said to him, mainly because I've been traveling around and seeing all these friends and having great experiences, I said to him, aren't you concerned that your kids are going to miss out on having the social interactions with other kids their age? And he said that he wasn't concerned about that because to him, family was the most important. And for me, it seemed like such an odd statement because the more I traveled around and saw my friends, as much as some family back there, Joey, in particular, that during that time, it became clear in my head that these friends that he just calls friends are my family. And when we started talking about having a wedding and trying to keep it small and intimate, it just wouldn't be right if some of you hadn't been part of it. And it's just really great that you guys came out for that. So that's that. Now there's this.
Oh my God.
Don't worry. It's okay.
How many pages
Don't worry. I got a captive audience. This is my one time. I've been waiting 50 years. Plus, there's not that big a dance floor. This is kind of like the entertainment for the night. So this is the actual speech. First of all, just smile. First of all, Maria and I would like to thank all of you for traveling from across the U.S. and Canada to join with us in today's celebration. She mentioned yesterday how much that meant to us, and I just wanted to also express my gratitude to everyone for taking the time and effort to share in the day with us. It really means a lot that we matter that much to all of you, so thank you. We also want to mention that we are thinking of her parents, Mike and Grace, who are unable to be here this evening, but they are definitely present in our thoughts and in our hearts. It's really been great to have John, Polly, Leslie, and Ezio here in town the last few days and be a part of our celebration. And just like Maria talked so warmly about last night, I would like to also thank my parents for hosting our out-of-towners pizza party. Hopefully everybody had a fun time. And a big thank you has to go to my best man, Andy Cass. We're going on 45 years of friendship, and it's been really special having you by my side and making sure I arrived here on time today. You've been extremely helpful, checking in every few weeks to see if I needed anything, and being completely accessible since you and Leslie landed in town. You fulfilled the role amazingly, and Maria and I really appreciate your constant asking us if we needed any help, and super appreciated your lovely wife, Leslie, along with General and Olivia Horniak, jumping in the car and picking up the beautiful flowers yesterday for us. So you guys rock. Thank you. And finally, thanks to Big Jim Saxon. What? For not saying a word to anyone years ago when I mentioned I was thinking of proposing to Maria. You kept it to yourself, and that allowed me to keep the video I made her a surprise when I finally popped the question. Thank you. Last night, Maria had mentioned that Polly had given her a membership, and a couple people have mentioned this as well, for 1 month to Match.com, and that we had met during her last week of that membership. What she didn't share with you was what she had written down in her profile and what she was looking for in somebody. I would have loved to share that with you tonight. But unfortunately, I was in a rush to get here on time, and forgot to print the copy.
That's okay, Matt. I brought it with me.
Katie got the copy. That's incredible. So tell us, Katie, what did Mary, or as she was known on Match.com, Tony LA, have to say about herself and what she was looking for when she hopped on Match.com?
Knowing what's important to me should tell you something about me. Not in any particular order. Family, friends, laughing. How funny is that? But not necessarily looking for a comedian. Oh my God. Love and being in a relationship, cuddling with the right guy. Would love to get a dog one day. Sorry, not a cat person. Movies, reading, donating to the women and children abuse shelter, all kinds of food, pecan pie, sushi, seafood, pasta. Don't let my small brain fool you. And my volunteer work with kids. I also enjoy watching live sports and traveling, especially internationally. I'm not religious, but open-minded and continue to grow and expand in all areas of my life. I am grateful for all that I've experienced so far and looking forward to adding that special someone who's ready to share the journey. As far as who I'd like to meet, I believe that when it's right, there's a sense of connection and things just glow and fall into place. Communication, respect, honesty, and laughing is most important. God, you found the right guy. Looking for a genuinely good guy. Most importantly, I have chemistry with and I'm attracted to. Sorry. I've known Matt for a long time. Almost as long as Andy. Sorry. I'm sorry. Looking for a genuinely good guy who most importantly I have chemistry with and I'm attracted to. Though I've met some good guys in the past, I'd like to meet that one guy that's going to make my heart beat a little faster and make me smile from ear to ear just thinking about him. A man who is honest and can communicate, is loving, caring, kind, playful, loves to cuddle, has a sense of humor, someone who is not afraid to show his feelings for me and can't help but adore me. Smiley face. A man of his word, who actions speak as loud as their words. One who is passionate, adventurous, happy, giving, grateful, and who intends to be in a committed relationship. A man who knows what he wants now and what he wants to create for his future. I like what you read and see. Send me quick a note and we can talk. But please be honest about your age and have a photo.
Katie was one of my first female best friends. We used to share, talk about everything, and thank you. So she sounds pretty sweet, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd marry her just from reading that. And it makes me kind of wish, since we have you all here together, that I had brought mine, so you'd have something to compare hers against and judge for yourselves whether this guy is worthy of this beautiful woman. But with work and all this wedding stuff going on, I just didn't have enough time to go back and find the...
Actually, Matt, I have a copy.
It's amazing you're carrying it around with you.
It's simple. Boy meets girl, girl meets boy. Or nowadays, boy sees girl's profile, nice. Girl sees boy's profile, huh. Email, Okay, let's meet. They meet. Hey, you look pretty cool. And you look like your photos too. You know, next time we should, yes, we should. Next time, even better. Another dinner, then a third. You know there's something about you. Yeah, you too. You know there's something. Meet his friends, meet her friends. What's up with you being so happy lately? Sleepover party at some point, breakfast next day. Looky here, perfect fit. I like movies, you like the beach, or something like that. More fun, weekend trip, then two. Few months disappear. Wow, I can't believe how much I dig you. Yeah, me too. More romantic dinners, more going away, more staying in. Bored today? Museum? How about a walk? Whatever you want to do, baby. A year in, romantic sunset. Will you? Sure, I dig you enough. Why not? Begin happily ever after, and all it took was a single email.
Thanks, Ron. Ron used to live across from me with Steve Bass, our first year at the University of Delaware. When I requested a non-smoking room and both my roommates showed up smoking, they kind of took me in and were kind to me. And so what Ron and Katie were talking about, that's the basics of online dating. You got your profiles, you got your pictures, and how it works is if you come across someone's profile and pictures that you like, you can put that person in your favorites, which allows them to know you're interested. I put Marie in my favorites. Sometimes you get lucky and the person responds. Sometimes you don't hear a peep. I got really lucky. A day or so after putting her in my favorites, Maria winked back at me, giving me permission to take our email relationship to the next level with emails.
Hi. Thanks for the wink. I should let you know that I kind of shaved my head a few weeks ago. And as a result, I don't look 100% like my photo right now. However, people do seem to like either the new look or the new hats that I've purchased. So, Tony LA, if a short haircut and some new hats don't scare you off, and you'd like to get to know a genuinely good guy who is up to talking you out of that sushi, seafood.
Taking you out today.
Oh, taking you out.
Just a little bit.
I will not talk you out, I will take you out for that sushi, seafood, or pasta that your small frame loves. Send an email back and perhaps we can get a step closer to someday washing a nice meal down with some pecan pie. And if not, just know you have one of the prettiest smiles I've ever seen on Match, and I wish you the best of luck in your search. Matt.
Pretty good, right? As we say in Hollywood, I did a callback to the sushi, pasta, and a few things she mentioned in her profile. I even turned it up, I even turned the smooth dial up a little bit with that whole prettiest smile line. But come on, right? So feeling pretty satisfied with my email, I hit send and waited until exactly 9:19 a.m. Monday, September 6th.
Hi, Matt. It's nice to meet you, with hair or not, smiley face. And thank you for the compliment. That was very sweet of you. I mean, I have to say, your message actually made me hungry, LOL. I enjoyed reading your profile and your description of the dating process. It was great. So, how long have you been in LA? What part of Jersey are you from? I actually lived in Weehawken, so I know the accent well. Do you have yours still? I hope you're enjoying your Labor Day weekend. There.
Thank you, Leslie.
Now, depending on the entertainment value, these emails can go on for a while. A week, maybe two, can pass until someone is interested or inspired enough to start talking on the phone. These two kids went back and forth for only a couple of days, and on September 9th, phone numbers were exchanged. Maria actually called Matt first, but believe it or not, he was at work, so he wasn't able to pick up.
Thank you, Karen. I then gathered up the courage to return the call. It's actually pretty nerve-wracking making that call because I didn't want to blow it. We've been getting along pretty well, and what happens is all you have to have is that one bad initial phone call, and it destroys all the emails and everything before it, especially in internet dating. I had enjoyed emailing Maria. We had a nice little back and forth banter going. She seemed like she had a pretty good sense of humor, and so I dialed her number, and I was hoping that nice back and forth would transcend the written page and continue as part of a real live conversation. So I psyched myself up and dialed her number. I was all ready to be charming, funny, confident. Hopefully I'd sound somewhat intelligent, and I got her voicemail. So I opted to keep the message short and sweet. Hi there. This is Matt. Give me a call when you get a chance. Hope you're having a good day. Bye.
To get into this family.
About a second after hanging up, I started to replay in my mind the message I had just left. And every time I thought about it, boring and bland were two adjectives that kept sticking to the message that was playing over and over in my head.
Matty G, I said to myself, you gotta stand out in the crowd. You gotta do better than that, dude.
You gotta do better than that, I said. You gotta send her a funny little email.
Mary, I appreciate that everything in your life must have its own place and be in order. I assume the chaos of the missed phone call yesterday sent you reeling. To help you regain some balance, here's what would most likely have transpired.
1. There was a 92% chance the conversation would have been entertaining, moving, and perhaps even inspiring for all participants.
Followed by a 74% chance that you have been asked to have some kind of meal sometime in the near future, perhaps even Saturday or Sunday, as an olive branch for my not picking up.
I then, in case there was any confusion as to whom your dinner companion would be, would have clarified that the meal was to have been with me. I put the probability of you being confused relatively low, say maybe 8% at the most.
I assume I have now moved to the bottom of your Match.com. I moved to the bottom dates, but nonetheless, I would like to thank you for yesterday's opportunity to speak with you.
And if by chance my name comes up again in the Mary Phone Lottery, I will do my very best to answer the call next time.
Until that fortunate day, I just want you to know that I have nothing but nice things to say about you and our match experience, and would recommend you to all the men on this side. I hope we have it in us to find our way back to being friends again someday. I miss your smile. Always.
Now, I'm not kidding when I say I read that email a half dozen times. Super proud that it was funny, charming, memorable, at least in my head. And Steve Bass, you can only imagine how much I was really looking forward to her writing back and telling me that I was funny and charming and memorable. I actually remember feeling proud of myself as I hit send. And then she replied. A day later.
Huh? Oh, I see. Because I couldn't pick
up when you called. Dear Matt, you are so sensitive. I hadn't realized, I guess you need to add that in your profile. Boy meets girl. Boy is sensitive and has crazy thoughts when girl doesn't pick up the phone. And assumes it's because he didn't pick up when she had called. So boy sends crazy message.
I want to say, in my defense, I didn't know him, so I have no idea who I was dealing with.
Now, this is online dating. We've never met. She doesn't know me. And as I found out later on, she actually had a few pretty nutty experiences with some guys on Match.com. So my email, the one I thought that was charming, funny, and memorable, was actually just another in a series of guys that she thought may or may not be avoidably nuts. When I read her reply, I really thought, I blew it. I really did. Like I said, tone is tough in an email when you don't know someone. I figured I'd send her one more email, and hopefully it'd be good enough to give me another chance to right my ship.
Mary, I will always add, boy looks like a fool when typing to make a girl smile. I sincerely apologize rereading what I wrote. The tone of my email is easily lost. There's clearly a fine line between being funny and sounding like a crazy moron. Especially when you don't know someone. I make people laugh and feel good all day long, and I truly didn't mean to offend you in any way. In the future, you find you ever want to be taken out for a great dinner and allow me to be this experience up to you, let me know. Thank you. Take care, Matt.
Thanks, Betty. As I later found out, she was actually just kidding and giving it right back to me with a reply. And so we went to dinner. Our first date was on the water at the Chart House in Marina del Rey. Thank you. I got there first. Second time. I was early for perhaps the first and only time in our relationship.
Up until
I was sitting by the bar, and when she walked in, I recognized her immediately. Unlike me with my shaved head, she looked like her photos. I walked up to her with one of my fancy schmancy new hats on. She smiled at me with that great smile, and her first words to me were,
take it off.
I took it off, and her second sentence to me was,
put it back on.
Now you know why I wear hats. I knew immediately I liked this girl. She had a pretty good sense of humor on day one. And as we got to know each other, there were several other things I found I liked about her. I liked that 5 weeks into our relationship, she had the courage to fly up to Vancouver and spend some time and take a chance on a guy that she barely knew, but had a good feeling about. I liked that she didn't try to change me, and when I asked her about it once, she said simply, I just like you because you're you. And it hasn't always been perfect. In our first few weeks of dating, we had a misunderstanding where I thought she was trying to mess with my head. I was traveling back up to Vancouver for work, and I'd left Maria's apartment with both of us not feeling that great towards each other. In fact, I remember getting in the elevator in her building and thinking to myself, I may never see that girl again. And when I flew back up to Vancouver that night, I went over to my friend Rachel's apartment. I was talking to her and her boyfriend about the online dating scene, and I said, you know, I just want someone to make a genuine effort. Stop playing games and make an effort. Late that night, I got back to my apartment and found an email waiting for me. It began, hi Matt, I wanted to write to you because things were left off a little funny with us when you left.
You're not going to really go into that, are you?
No. That's it.
Somebody else will.
That's the 10 o'clock show. I'll always remember that because it not only was a pretty good coincidence, but I think sometimes the universe has a way of keeping you pointed in someone's direction. Without me knowing it then, she was becoming my north, so to speak. And after a few years, we started talking about marriage. I still looked at it as a piece of paper, and she looked at it as more than that. She looked at it as family. And why it was important for me to have the family that I've known and loved. And it was important for me to have the family and friends that I've known and loved through the years, my parents and brothers, but also all the friends and neighbors. It's important to officially welcome you into the fold. You've known the family I was born into, but I also really wanted you to experience the family, all of you that are here, that I've come to know over the years. Some of us, or some of whom, like Mr. and Mrs. K, Mrs. Lou, the Gdemas, Mrs. Francis, and all the neighbors in the old neighborhood, couldn't be here in person today, that they still are here with us in other ways.
Hello, Matthew. Is your father home? First, we want to wish you both a heartfelt congratulations and best wishes on your wedding day and a lifetime of love and happy times. We won't be able to make the celebration, but you know we'll be there in spirit with all our love. I read all your Facebook quotes and pictures and really feel privileged to be a part of your extended family. It's like I never left the warm comfort of those days in Normandy Village when we just stepped out the door and found our friends and our neighbors and who we loved and who loved us. Marriage is a serious step, and with all your preparations and commitment, you both will be very happy and content. It's really nice to have someone to share your life with and not to go at it alone. Sorry we won't be there for the festivities, but all our love is with you. Norm Gdema and Roberta.
There are so many qualities I love about my girl. But if you'll indulge me for just a few more moments, I'd like to share something with you that I wrote a little over 2 years before I proposed. I was going to post it on Facebook as something for Valentine's Day for Maria. I didn't, but I'd like to share it with you tonight because I think it speaks a lot about the woman I've married. January 18th, 2014. So I have a confession. Sure, I posted a few cute pictures about Tierra, but in reality, deep down, I didn't want the dog here. In case you don't know about Tierra, here's what's up. Recently, a call came into an organization about this little puppy. From what we've learned, she was the unwanted, ugly one in the litter, and the human, and I use that term loosely here, who was in charge of her had abandoned her in a box on the side of the road somewhere near LAX. She was not only flea infested, but scared of everything and anything. And for reasons that only she knows, she was especially afraid of men. Now Maria, whose heart is as big as it gets when it comes to these little creatures, asked me if I'd agree to let her foster Tierra and bring her into our home. To be honest, I liked the routine we had fallen into with Zuzu, our other own little puppy, who we both adored and still adore. Our routine was we'd get up, feed Zuzu, walk her, and then Zuzu pretty much remained self-sufficient, keeping mostly to herself throughout the day. I knew the moment I met Tierra that she would disrupt our routine, and more importantly to me, she'd disrupt our peace. I knew Tierra would be getting up at different times, need to be walked way more than Zuzu, and would make a lot more noise that I really didn't want to hear. But because Maria is so great, I said yes. It was something she really wanted to do, even though inside I was pretty much 100% against it. Emotionally, I just wasn't in the same space as Maria. I liked my home life as it was, and I didn't have the same push to help these fosters. I didn't feel the need to bring one into our peaceful home. But in Tierra came, and as the days went by, I found myself getting angrier and more frustrated at this new little puppy, not only for all the whining and occasional indoor peeing, but also because of her abandonment issues and her constant need for attention both in and out of the home. She needed to feel like she mattered, and her constant crying and interrupting as I tried to focus my time on my own projects started to wear on my patience. The foster situation came to a head one night when Maria and I argued over caring for this small, little, needy girl. I made a case that since Maria had brought the puppy into our home and disrupted our normal routine, that she should be the one taking on most of the responsibility of caring for it. Rather than caving into my selfishness or getting angry in return at me, Maria pointed out that when she had asked me to do this, she thought by my saying yes that I was her partner, and that I was agreeing to take on 50% of what fostering entailed. I said I supported her decision, but felt all the extra stuff should be her responsibility, because it's something that she wanted to do. I went so far as to point out, even though she wanted to foster the pup, I was the one going out at 4:30 in the morning to walk her. And as I looked into her eyes and saw the hurt and sadness she was experiencing, because my heart wasn't as open as hers towards this creature, something inside me changed. I thought about my high school friend Dwayne Hill, who set out in 2014 to change his way of thinking, and rather than saying, I have to do something, he decided he would start using the words, I get to do something, instead. And I also thought about my junior high buddy, Michael Horniak, who had posted that he was striving to keep negativity out of his life in 2014 and did not hesitate to call people on it and reinforce using the positive whenever he could. And as Maria sat next to me on the couch, looking sad and upset, she turned to me, and with nothing but absolute sincerity in her voice, she told me I was supposed to be her rock. And as we sat there in tense silence, and I tried to think of something to say in my defense, the only thoughts that came and stuck around and rolled around in my brain was that she was right. Here's a situation where someone she was counting on, someone she was hoping was sharing this thing called life together, was instead doing nothing but letting her down. My disappointment equaled hers, and in that moment, I shared her sadness and realized that at a time when someone who loved me and counted on me and needed me to be a rock, I was behaving more like a pebble. It was truly one of those little life instances where I can remember hearing a voice inside my head ask me, is this the best you can do? Is this the best you can be in this moment? I was ashamed and embarrassed to realize that the answer was a resounding no. From that point on, I looked at this little 3.5-pound dog who had interrupted my life with her whining, peeing, and other needs, and I asked myself, what if I came at this situation from another place? What if I approached it the way Maria did? What if I came at it from a place of love? And like Dwayne before me who said we get to do things, what if I not only get to take the dog out at 4:30 in the morning, but I'm doing it out of love for another creature? What if instead of being tired, angry, cold, and frustrated, I just tried a little harder to care about something other than myself? Because when you get right down to it, all this creature really wanted in life is what we all want in life. A home that's warm, a feeling of being safe, to find family, and to be loved. In a moment, my attitude towards Tiara shifted. I started to look at Tiara through Maria's eyes. And on the afternoon, we discovered that Tiara not only had fleas, but she also had worms. Instead of being angry at Maria for bringing her into our home, it became all about what can I do to help this poor little thing. And what did I get to do? Well, that afternoon I got to pull a worm out of her little butt and recreate the closest thing to a scene from Aliens that I've ever experienced in my life. True story. And when Maria got home from taking her to get dewormed, and I saw that this poor little foster puppy had thrown up on herself on the drive home. And as she looked up at me, scared, tired, and sick, with little flecks of vomit peppering her small face, instead of being disgusted or angry, you know what happened? This Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes bigger that day. So why write this? I guess it's just an early Valentine's Day recommendation for all the haters out there in the world. Take a day and instead of coming from a place of anger, frustration, or hate, try instead to take a moment and be like my bride and care about what you think, do, or say, and come at things from a place of love. Because that's what my bride teaches me every day. There's a Jewish word for whole that is very similar to the word shalom, which means peace. They say that when you feel whole, that's when you'll find your peace. You make me feel whole because I found my peace with you. You not only make me want to be a better man, to steal a line from As Good As It Gets, but you make me want to be the best version of myself. Thank you for saying yes. I love you very much.